Hello, Chevre, how are you? I hope everyone is gesund, stark und freilich, begashmis und beruchnis. I hope everyone is healthy, strong, and happy physically and spiritually. The Hebrew should help that the Magefa should stop now, and all those that need refuah shleima should have one immediately. Tonight is Gimmel Tammuz, the Yemei Lula of the Rebbe. So we'll talk about what I believe is a very important point in life about changing and growing. But first we'll start with a pasuk from the Rebbe's new kapitel Kuf Yutes. Pasuk Nun Tes. Chishavti drochoi v'shiva raglai elei secho, which means I considered my ways and returned my feet to your Torah's testimonies. So what we can learn from this pasuk is that v'shiva raglai, I returned my feet. In other words, put yourself in the right place. Sometimes if you just set yourself and put yourself in the right place, that will be the beginning of all your further involvement and growth in spirituality. In this week's Parsha, it says that Korach made a rebellion against Moshe Rabbeinu, and it failed, and Hashem punished them, and it was a unique punishment, and the earth opened up, and it swallowed Korach and all those that were with them in the machlokes. So you would think from this that anybody and every one of them that was involved in the machlokes died. As the pasuk says, "Vatiftach haaretz es piyah," the earth opened its mouth. "Vativla oisam vezboteim veis kol ha'adam asher lekorach veis kol ha'rechush," which means the earth opened its mouth and swallowed them and their households and all the people who were with Korach and all the possessions. But it's interesting to note that later on in Parshas Pinchas, it says, "Uvnei Korach lo mesu," but the sons of Korach didn't die. And over here the question is, why does the Torah say the sons of Korach didn't die? And we have to understand, they were involved in the machlokes. So how come they didn't die? So Rashi in Parshas Pinchas says the following: Heim hoyu be'etzet chila. The children of Korach were in the plan at first. Ubeshas hamachlokes hireru tshuva belibam. During the time of the dispute, they had thoughts of repentance in the heart. And v'chach nisbatzu lehem mokim gevoya begehenim. Therefore, a high place was fortified for them in Gehenim, v'yoshvu sham, and they resided there. So here we have a unique instance and a phenomena. All the commentators speak about it, and there's a lot of things that have to be explained. What does it mean that they had thoughts of tshuva during the dispute? So if they had those thoughts of tshuva, so that should be enough straight away that maybe because of that they shouldn't have to go to Gehenim. Why did they still have to go to Gehenim? So if we look at it that way, it seems like there was just a thoughts of doing tshuva, but it wasn't really strong enough that we could be sure that it's sincere and genuine. But nevertheless, in any case, what we see from this story is that the children of Korach had a special place in hell, and they eventually got out of there, and they had children and descendants, etc. So here we have a lesson. The Rebbe speaks a whole sikha about this, and I believe this is a very, very important lesson concerning life, and that is about change and regret. How do we measure the truth of the regret? On the one hand, the Alter Rebbe in chapter 11 in Tanya says that the Rasha v'Tovle, that's a certain category, he calls it Mלאים חרטות, Rasha'im Mלאים חרטות. A Rasha is full of regret. Like the person who says, I quit smoking 1,000 times. So obviously, each time wasn't really serious enough. That's why you had to quit 1,000 times. Or for example, we say crocodile tears. In other words, it's not real tears, you're not really sincere. Or like the famous line that educators tell students when the student says he wants to learn, and the Rosh Hashiva tells the student, has taki gewollt lernen? No, other, du willst wollen lernen. Do you really want to learn, or you want to learn? In other words, if you want something, do you really want it bad enough? So this is the message for today, Erev Gimmel Tammuz. Gimmel Tammuz is a very holy day, and it's a time for change, to go higher, and a time to look and make a cheshbon hanefesh, an accounting, to see where we could improve. But you have to start with a resolution. And this is what I heard from all my mentors, all my mashpiyim, whether it was Rabbi Melech Tzibul. He was once farbrengen, and he was talking about the idea that, a person makes resolutions. It's called hachlotas. And a lot of people think, why should I make a resolution? This is resolution number 1455, and nothing comes out of it. And he was talking about it once by a farbrengen, and he said, but if you don't make a resolution, that means you are admitting that you are just finished. In other words, you're a complete sacrifice to your animal soul. You gave in, you admitted defeat, and game over. So therefore, you still have to make the resolution. In other words, the resolution itself is a sign of a fighting spirit that you want to change. And Rabbi Yoel Kahn also spoke about it in his words. He once said by a farbrengen, you have to make a protest against your nefesh bahamis. In other words, that guilty conscience that you say, no, this cannot continue. Now, sometimes that develops and it comes out into action, and sometimes not. So we're talking about, really measuring a conviction and a resolution, and trying to enhance it, and to make sure to carry through with it all the way. But this is the message, that from the Bnei Korach we see that they had just a hir tshuva, and that saved them. That even though they were in the abyss, they were in Gehenim, but because they had that thought of tshuva, that itself saved them, that ultimately they were able to be redeemed completely. And this is a message for every single one of us, and this is a message that Torah emphasizes all the time. One of the most inspiring lines in Tanya, for me personally, is what Alter Rebbe writes in chapter 11 of Igeres HaTshuva on the statement of our sages, K'mayim Azal Habol Lטהר Mesaya'n. One who comes to be purified is helped. And the Alter Rebbe says the following, Habo Daike. One who comes, it's like saying he arrived. Miyad Sheba. The Alter Rebbe says, as soon as you show up, that's enough. You'll be helped. And it's like what it says in the pasuk that we mentioned before, V'shiva Raglai. Take a stand, put yourself in the right place, show up. How amazing is that? Can you imagine a boss that says, just show up? So we're not saying over here, just show up. It's not enough, just haba. But sometimes we're saying that itself represents something deeper, something that comes from your better self. So hang on to it, latch onto it, ride it, and develop it. And that's the message we have to take today. It comes a holy day like Gimmel Tammuz. We learn from Bnei Korach, even though they started off wrong, and they were involved in dispute, and they were part of the troublemakers, but because they had regret and remorse, so it's a small step. As they say, every journey of 10,000 miles begins with a small step. Take that small step and run with it, so that eventually you'll be redeemed and be put in the right place. Posting from Yeshiva, you're a man, you're a man in Melbourne.